Imagine this, you're scrolling through your phone on a Sunday afternoon. Suddenly an ad pops up on your screen. It's the cheapest pair of earbuds you've ever seen, and like most customers, you hit the buy now button to avoid missing the deal. The scenario I just described sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? In 2022, a new player entered the e-commerce industry, offering deals that defied common sense. Within months, it became the most downloaded shopping app in the US, leaving retail giants scrambling to keep up. But as millions of Americans click add to cart, darker stories unfolding behind the scenes. Today, we'll dive into Temu's business model and reveal the true cost of these tempting bargains, from low-quality products to environmental harm, questionable labor practices, and even security risks. We'll explore why these earbuds might be pricier than they seem. But first, let's talk about Sarah. Sarah is a 28-year-old graphic designer from Austin, Texas. Like millions of others, she was lured by Temu promises of high-quality products at bargain prices. With hopes of upgrading her setup, Sarah ordered a drawing tablet for about $24, much cheaper than name brand alternatives. When the package arrived, Sarah's excitement quickly turned to disappointment. The tablet's pressure sensitivity was inconsistent, the stylus lagged noticeably, and the build quality was far from high quality. Sarah thought she was getting a great deal, but instead got a product that is essentially unusable for her work. And for most customers like Sarah, this is not just disappointing. It's a huge waste of money and time. Her experience isn't unique. Across social media and review platforms, you'll find countless of stories of customers receiving items that don't match what was advertised. Customers report receiving clothing made from cheaper materials, electronics that stop working after a few uses, and home goods that arrive damaged. You might be thinking it's just a few dollars, but there's a much bigger cost here than just the wallet. In 2019 alone, the world generated 53.6 metric tons of electronic waste. That's the equivalent of throwing away 800 laptops every second. And Temu, with its focus on disposable, low-cost products, is only adding fuel to this fire. Every cheap product that breaks after a few uses ends up in the trash, contributing to the growing environmental crisis. Beyond the product themselves, the global shipping of these items, often packaged individually, leave a massive carbon footprint. But it's not just the environmental part that is the problem. There's a human cost as well. When prices are this low, it's hard to ensure that the products are made ethically. The use of forced labor in global supply chain is a well-documented issue, especially in certain regions of China. In 2021, the US Department of Labor identified 17 Chinese goods produced with forced labor, including many consumer electronics and textile, the most popular category on Temu. When we're dealing with price this low, it's almost impossible to ensure fair labor practices throughout the entire supply chain. The math simply doesn't add up unless corners are being cut somewhere. While Temu claimed to prohibit the use of forced labor by its sellers, the company's ability to effectively monitor and enforce this policy across its vast network of suppliers is questionable. The sheer volume of products and the pressure to maintain low prices creates significant challenges in ensuring ethical sourcing. But it's not just about labor practices. Many of Temu products are made from materials that are harmful to the environment, such as non-biodegradable plastics and toxic dyes. The rapid turnover of cheap, low-quality products creates a cycle of consumption and waste that is unsustainable in the long term. And if you think that is bad, wait till you hear what happened to John. John is a software engineer from Seattle. He made a small purchase on Temu, a simple phone case, but days later he discovered unauthorized charge on his credit card, totaling over $500. It took him hours on the phone with his bank to sort it out. While it's difficult to directly link these security breaches to Temu, the frequency of such reports from customers is very concerning. Cybersecurity experts have raised questions about the app's data handling practices and the potential vulnerability of its payment system. Any e-commerce platform handling sensitive financial information needs a robust security system. When an app prioritizes growth and low prices over everything else, security can sometimes take a backseat. In an era where data is more valuable than the product being sold, we need to ask ourselves a very important question. Is our personal information the real price of Temu's cheap products? Now you might be wondering, where is the US government in all of this? Well, that's where things get more blurry. US consumer protection laws weren't designed for the complexity of global e-commerce, and so regulators are struggling to keep up with fast-growing platforms like Temu. The Federal Trade Commission has the authority to investigate unfair and deceptive practices in e-commerce. However, Enforcing regulation in a company based overseas with a complex network of suppliers is a huge struggle. Similarly, custom agencies are overwhelmed by the sheer volume of small, individual packages characterizing Temu business model that enters the country, which makes it very hard to enforce regulation on product safety, counterfeits, and restricted goods. It's like trying to stop a flood with a sieve. Custom agents simply don't have the resources to check every packages, and the high volume of shipments makes it very easy for all the bad product to slip through. Despite all these concerns, the demand for ultra-cheap products shows no sign of slowing down. Temu's success has sparked a race to the bottom in terms of e-commerce pricing. Products are being priced cheaper and cheaper, and competitors like Shein and Wish are adopting similar business models. This trend raises important questions about the future of retail and consumer behavior. Are we willing to prioritize extremely cheap prices over quality, ethics, and security? What are the long-term costs of this shift toward consumers in America? As consumers, we have the power to shape this future through our purchasing decisions. By considering the true cost of ultra-cheap goods, not just in dollars, but in terms of quality, ethics, and environmental impact, we can make more informed choices. So what can we do? How can we satisfy our desire for good deals without compromising on values or security? Well, here are some alternatives to consider. But first, I want to clarify that I'm not sponsored by any of the companies I'm going to mention. Okay, the first alternative are second-hand marketplace. Platforms like TradeUps and Poshmark offer quality products at affordable prices while promoting reuse throughout the supply chain. Number 2 are ethical marketplaces. Websites like Done Good and MakeTrades curate products from companies committed to ethical and sustainable practices. Number 3 is local buying. Supporting local businesses often ensure better quality and more ethical practices while reducing the carbon footprint of shipping. And finally, mindful consumption. Before making a purchase, consider whether you really need the item or if it's worth investing in higher quality, more durable alternative. As for Temu and similar platforms, these are the steps that they could take to address their problems. Number 1 is improved quality control, implementing stricter standards for sellers and more rigorous product testing. Number 2 is supply chain transparency, providing detailed information about the origin and manufacturing processes of their products. Number 3 is enhanced security measures, investing in robust cybersecurity infrastructure to protect user data and financial information. And finally, ethical sourcing initiatives, developing programs to ensure fair labor practices and environmental sustainability in their supply chain. As we uncovered today, the rise of ultra-cheap e-commerce platforms like Temu represent a significant shift toward global retail. While the allure of very cheap prices is undeniable, it's crucial to consider the hidden costs in terms of quality, ethics, security, and environmental impact. As consumers, we have the power to demand better. By making informed decisions and supporting businesses that align with our values, we can shape a more sustainable and ethical future for e-commerce. The true cost of that pair of earbuds might be higher than we think. It's up to us to decide if it's a price we're willing to pay. So next time you see that irresistible deal pop up on your screen, pause for a second. Remember Sarah, John, and the countless others affected by this race to the bottom in terms of pricing. Because in the end, the cheapest option might just be the most expensive of all. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button and let me know in the comments. What is the cheapest deal you've ever gotten? See you next time.